Today, we're diving into the PM Multiverse of Madness and talking about the 12 roles of a project manager. You can see some of them here on the right. And being a project manager means wearing lots of different hats and often at the same time, as the picture over here depicts. One moment you're forecasting the weather, the next one you're chasing down a delinquent task owner, and so on. So today we'll explore the 12 unofficial roles of PMs. And by the way, none of these are the jobs that we signed up for, but they're all sort of part of being successful at our roles. So let's dive into it. Who are the 12 roles? First, you have the accountant, then we have the babysitter, then we have the police officer, the weather person. Sometimes we're a doctor. Sometimes, a lot of times, we're therapists, definitely firefighters. Oftentimes, we're being asked to perform magic. We are a detective at times, investigating things. Many times, we're an air traffic controller, definitely a diplomat, and finally, a fortune teller. So let's talk about each of these 12 roles that we play. The accountant, we manage budgets, and a lot of times really large budgets. So we have to track every penny of our budgets. Sometimes we pretend that the spreadsheet isn't held together by fragile formulas, visual basic macros, and a whole lot of hope. And every now and then you'll look at it and you'll find sort of a small change, and it's costing $200,000 or some weird figures like that. And generally, it's just telling leadership that we're fine while we sweat through our shirt trying to make all of the numbers and the math add up. We are many times a babysitter. There's lots of team members. We have to make sure they don't wander off into other projects or other activities. We spend a significant amount of our time reminding adults to do the things that they agreed to do. I actually tell people when they ask me what I do for a living, that is how I explain my job description. We definitely need to provide snacks once in a while when morale dips, making sure that nobody's eating the glue during planning. Of course, it's a metaphor, but you all know that one person. And then reminding people to use their inside voice. So babysitters a lot of the time. The police officer. So sometimes we have to track down the delinquent tasks and overdue action items and enforce deadlines with the friendly but firm tone. Always issuing citations for reckless violations of timelines or deliverables. Definitely need to interrogate suspects sometimes who tell us that their task is almost done and they've been telling us that status for weeks. And then obviously breaking up the fights. You have to have your authoritative voice in there with breaking up fights. So we're the friendly police officer. We are the weather person. We have to report status and progress and tell people how things are going. So we have to forecast whether it's going to be a sunny sprint or a stormy delivery. We're making predictions that most people will blame later, right? And whether people can get stuff right a third of the time as PMs, we have to be way more successful. Things like announcing a 90% chance of delays with scattered panic. And we show our 7-day forecasts. Nobody really pays attention to it. And then they wonder why things are where they are. And it's really trying to sound confident, even when some of our models might predict that things aren't going so well. So we are constantly the weather person predicting. But sometimes you have to be the doctor, and sometimes you have to check the vitals of the projects and diagnose the risks that maybe the team doesn't want to acknowledge, right? Maybe they overate and the weight and A1C aren't where they want to be, and it's our job to tell them that on their projects and provide some corrective action. Maybe it's pills they don't want to take, but monitoring symptoms like low morale and chronic blocker syndrome. And then we can declare that the project is stable but under observation. Then we have the therapist. Oftentimes, team members are in our offices complaining, stopping by for quick chats, and they really turn into sort of private sessions where we're listening patiently to people venting about everything, the leads, the colleagues, the other people, corporate events. It's like reading Fishbowl every day. Asking someone how did you make how did you miss that deadline? And so on, instead of how did that make you feel, I guess. And encouraging emotional healing after terrible meetings. So we are often a therapist, lots of listening and lots of asking questions. Then there are constant fires that are happening on projects. And so our job is to respond to them. Most of them we didn't start, and putting out those issues that just keep popping up. Sometimes we're running into burning buildings or deadlines with optimism and a bucket. Hopefully, there's something in that bucket to put it out. Living in the constant state of controlled panic, and then heroically saving the day while everybody else watches. That must sound familiar because that's probably most days for most of us. But then we're asked to be magicians. We're asked to just create things that just defy the laws of physics, pulling resources out of thin air or performing miracles that assumes, yeah, it's just normal things. There's the ancient ritual of finding more time in the schedule, which is always fun, and transforming chaos into something that looks planned. So we're fighting fires and then asked to be magicians as well. And sometimes things come up that we need to investigate. So then we become the detective. So what happened in the meeting, or why is something late, or what caused a defect? And generally, that's gathering evidence from suspicious people or emails with suspicious timestamps and hunting down missing deliverables like clues. And then we have to piece together all of the truths from half updated Jira tickets or project deliverables. Air traffic controller. Most projects have so many things that are going on, many planes and projects circling overhead. And so we have to make sure that everybody lands at once, nobody's panicking, nobody crashes into each other. And that requires constant watching of lights and pretending that everything is normal while sweating out a regular day. Then we have to be the diplomat. And on projects, there's always boundaries, there's always conflicts, there's always border wars between tech and business and finance and all the talent, HR, all the different areas. And so we get to translate between them and then try to be the diplomat to align expectations and make sure that people stop fighting. And then finally, we are the fortune teller. We are predicting risks long before anybody sees them, or warning of schedule slips in advance, oftentimes being ignored. And then, we're saying we're fine for now. And generally with an ominous meeting, and then seeing how shocked everyone is when the forecast actually come true. So hopefully you had a little bit of fun with this, but here's the true role of the PM. And it's not one job. It's all of these jobs. So you could see sort of the wheel of jobs over here that we're constantly spinning as we run from one role to the other. So we have to balance budgets and tempers and timelines and crying babies and expectations. And we're looked to solve the problems before nobody else notices them. And despite the chaos, we do keep the circus running. So my advice is to embrace the multiverse of madness that is our job. I'm sure there's other roles I forgot, so stick some in the comments and let me know. And thanks for coming along this ride with me.